Agents Argo.
What's going on, Star Wars Unlimited fans? It's Gudo here from 2 to Base. I'm back after another long hiatus. Just being honest here, I haven't had a lot of time to record, very minimal time to record, and the time that I do get, I've been either hitting the gym, spending some more time with the family just because the kids are getting older and they're just a lot more to handle. So priorities, but new set is out, rotation has come, and I have to talk about this. I just went out to locals yesterday, so it's the first premiere play that I've done in person since the rotation, in the new format sort of, and playing new cards. So I'll talk a little bit about what I played, what I'm thinking about this new meta. We'll look at the SWU Competitive Hub results, talk a very little bit about that. I'm not going to go through too many details, but I do want to pull up some interesting viewpoints, results, and just kind of leave it to the comments to sort of like branch off into that conversation. But as always, shout out to the Haven for being our sponsor in this video. And yeah, let's get right into it. Let me swap my screen. I thought first we'll look through the tournament results. Over this past weekend, there were 2 events, sort of small events. I don't know if you consider them, major tournaments, but there are a lot of notable names in these tournaments. As you see, there was an open and an invitational. We'll look at the open first. So yeah, talking about results, we know Luke Data Vault was going to be probably one of the, I will say, safest decks to play. With upgrade hate, Luke doesn't really count towards that. There are cards that have been printed that can deal with, let's say Luke swings, we pay that new 5-cost blue card, Retaliation. Boom, Luke's dead. But is it too late? Has the damage already been done? So Luke being a good solid pick right now. Space decks, I think, are a safe place to go just because we know... I don't know if the power level of the top end has gone down. It certainly has, at least from the villainy side. There are still some really good hero ships that can, do the deed. What do we got here? We got Boba, Lake Country. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. As soon as I saw this list, I kind of spun up a little edited version of it. This deck's insane. It really isn't much different from the Data Vault version, except, what's better than 33, 34? More health. In a world where a lot of bases might be playing 27 HP with the splash bases, thinking of Jenner, so you're thinking of some of these decks that we know, some of the Chewy decks coming out of the gate that'll be sort of looked at as some of the better leaders from the new set. But I think a lot of chatter around the pilot leaders led to, I think it's going to be the safest place to pick as far as first big tournaments and kind of like what to play. What do we play? New set, rotation. I don't know what to do. Some of these leaders didn't really have to do anything to it. Just play it with a few new cards and know the decks you're playing against and go from there. Looks like we had another Luke Data Vault up here in third. 4th place, Sabe Data Vault. I know Sabe Data Vault, even pre-rotation, was pretty good. I think she gets even better after. Being able to target the hand, hit that aggressive negotiations, hit the deck, hit the aggressive negotiations, help kill what is seeming to be a lot of decks' go-to game plan as one of the win conditions in the new decks. Aggressive negotiations. Oh, should we ban it? Should be banned? It shouldn't be banned. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Vader Yellow, obviously we know that deck still able to sing. Can't even say there's like a breakout card that just ruins this deck. There's a couple ping leaders that could be a problem for Vader, but looks like the results here did pretty good. So 5th place there. Maul Blue Force, cheer it. All the good Force packages is still really strong. We're seeing that it's really strong still. Not really much else to say there. I'm just glad to see Maul on a podium, so to speak. It's not really a podium, small attendance. Not a major tournament, but nonetheless, great players in this attending the tournament and getting 6th place is pretty good. This one is a little interesting. I kind of want to look at this Boba Blue. Boba Pilot Blue, which in past metas unplayable. But it looks like, hey, like I'm playing Chinos, I'm playing Bithbrew, I'm getting the aggressive negotiations going. So maybe it's just trying to do what the other, Boba decks are doing, but has a little spice to it. We see some good removal, shadow cloaking. I mean, I just think of like deploying, playing Cinta, swinging, getting that first swing on. Maybe next turn they can't deal with Boba right away. You swing again, play Shadow Cloaking, ready Boba, and you're doing like 30-something damage within just a few swings. So there's definitely some spice here. I'm trying to see if like... okay, there. Yep, he's got the board wipe, so we do have a board wipe. We can rebuild, play a Devastator right out of the bag, do 4 direct damage to the base. Planetary Bombardment follow up after the board wipe is pretty good. So there's definitely some spice here. And I see IG, you got these above rate, like, new units that, like, pay 4, have a 6/3 shielded. Sorry, you guys can't really see that. Let me move up a little. I've been playing this in the deck that I've been toying with, and I'll tell you guys a little bit about that later. But yeah, I mean, just why play blue? Blue because there's actually some strong units that they've added in. Let me go back here. In the new set, so. What is this? Okay, so access to turning off credits. I see what he's got going on here. This is really interesting. Interesting. So, looking further, and we got Towels in red, so definitely seeing some familiar faces. Excuse me. But on this ticker, top 8, there's no set 7 leaders. So, all from JTL and Legends of the Force. So, interesting turnout there. What else we got? Here we go. The Nexus Invitational. This is where it got spicy. I don't know. Yeah, no, there's Legends of the Force and JTL leaders. At the first glance, you're like, you could tell at the open, everyone played what they were like comfortable with, and then in the Invitational, we see completely different decks. Now, I wonder, is it the same event, or is it? It's like the same thing, but a different tournament, right? Yeah, Spellbound. Yeah, Spellbound. So same place, same. I don't know if it's the same players, but for whatever reason, there were 28 players on day 1 and 32 on day 2. So don't know what that's about. But let's look at the hot stuff we got here. So Bedton taking his Tobias Red list. We've seen it sort of talked about. Big aggressive negotiations deck. One of the biggest ones. You're giving your opponent your units, defeating them on the deploy, drawing a couple cards, and creating credit tokens. So there's a huge payoff when you do your deploy. Interesting there. And then getting second place is just Vader Yellow. Vel is the one I was surprised by because, God, you just think of is giving your units XP enough to warrant letting your opponent essentially ramp? I mean, I'm thinking as if I'm playing Boba or playing a top end deck where I'm top end heavy and you're just giving me credits, it's nice. Except watching some of the VOD of this player using the ability very specifically in certain points of the game is what I recognized was the play. It wasn't hey, I'm buffing every single thing I play. Some of it doesn't need to be buffed. Things like Synthacaz, the unit that gets Sentinel when you give it when it has a upgrade on it, huge play. Very interesting. Chewie, I know, talk about Chewie in a little bit. Chewie up there in yellow, Lando blue, Akbar Data Vault, Unity of Purpose stuff. I don't know if there's a Unity of Purpose in there, but I've seen the splash bases playing that instead of the 33 HP. I'm not sure which one's better, but interesting to see there. I know Ollie I think he's on the Bothan Network. He's a really good player, so yeah, shout out to him getting the top 8, and then that Towson back at it again in the top 8, and then we have another Vader Yellow. So So yeah, interesting turnout on the event. No surprise that the winner of Worlds took this event as the first event coming out of the rotation meta. Let's look at... So I want to look at something from a different view. So like same tournament, same thing, but let's look at this view. This view, for whatever reason, it kind of showed the matchups leading up to the final, so pretty cool. This is from, I think his name's Email, but the Nexus, their YouTube from the stream. I sort of saw this video and thought I would kind of just take this snippet, but yeah, really cool. Let me see if I can move my camera. Screw it. I can actually go like this. I don't think that helps. Anyway, I'll walk you through it if you can't see the bottom left, but on the bottom here, we've got Luke Datavault and Akbar Datavault. So they ended up bowing out in the first round, or sorry, round 5. I guess this was only for this is top 8. Oh, top 16 probably. Yeah, I can't count right now. But yeah, looking pretty cool. Like seeing the Vel and then Tobias go at it. Interesting how they did it, because like Beton ended up losing this one and then somehow getting bumped into the 6th round. I don't know if there's like I'm not sure how the bracket works for this event, but double elim. Okay, so that's why I love double elimination, man. It's so cool. I hope we get more of that like in the US. Pretty cool. But yeah, it looks like what do we got? Chewie versus a Lando. Looks like the Chewie took it, going too fast for some of that late game stuff. Even though like Lando's not super late game, he can play bombs pretty early on his deploy, but interesting there. Vader beating Towson. I mean, not something I expected. Kind of feel like Towson just like shuts Vader down in a sense. Interesting there. Looks like Vader actually ended up beating the... Actually, I think I watched this on stream, but the Vader beat the Akbar Datavault in that round 6. It was actually really close, and both boards ended up like massive, so that was fun to watch. Looks like over here Silk lost to Beton in the 6th round using his Tobias. I mean, it's really like, can he get the aggressive negotiations play off? And if they get that off, it's pretty hard to come back from. Looks like Chewie took a round against the Vel. The last thing you want to do is give Chewie more ammo to like blow up his resource to do the 2 damage, or yeah, blow up the resource to do the 2 damage. That has been really good. And then kind of going through this really quickly, and then we'll talk about like the locals meta that I experienced yesterday. Yeah, I mean, just like between this Baton and this guy playing Chewie, Red Rufus, it's almost like who gets the aggressive negotiations off first and who has a bigger impact with that. And yeah, this Vel, I just think it's too slow. Vader doesn't care about what's going on the ground. And if you're giving any credits to Vader, it's really bad, because like being able to play an earlier combat is pretty bad. So I can see that being tough for Vel. Interesting to see her in the top 8 though. Obviously there's something there that like no one thought would be even close to remotely relevant, and then it's like, oh, maybe you don't have to give XP to a unit every single turn. You just do it when it really matters and can completely swing the game. So maybe going back and doing more VOD review on that leader. Might be thinking of doing that. Yeah, and then Baton takes it against Vader. Probably just like, I'm going to give you my crappy units, I'm going to ramp like crazy, play a bomb, and have an insane aggressive negotiations play. And they can't even like swing the unit that you give them. Well, I guess you could swing it into one of your units, but yeah, you just, Vader doesn't have a really good way to interact with what Tobias is doing, so really cool to see that. But it looks like Chewie, you know, if you're thinking about new leaders in, you know, post-rotation meta, tournaments coming up, Chewie, Tobias, maybe Vel, I don't know. And Lando was, like, we already kind of knew Lando would be good because having home, was it home one? No, Liberty. Having Liberty, oh yeah, and home one. You got both of those big bombs in those colors. would be good enough. I don't know. We'll see if it's good enough. But Lando, I don't know. He could be too slow for this aggressive, super aggressive meta, which now we'll talk about that. Let me switch back over to my front camera. Yeah, so locals yesterday. So I've been messing around with Palp. What side is it from? Secrets of Power Palp. Palpatine in red. 30 HP. Not thinking of a splash base right now, but in terms of like, why did I pick that? I honestly have the showcase and I want to play it. I didn't get to play it enough last set when I got it, so that's sort of my like why behind it. It's pretty simple. I mean, you get to use his ability to draw into pumping your aggressive negotiations. Now I've built two kinds. One that's more of like a, I'm gonna call it hard control, but more event based, and then I have an aggressive negotiations build where I'm playing more units with removal to clear their board, build my board, and then just swing for a bunch of damage. So it's really just playing really good rate units like Triple O, Hana, the pig that restores 2, swings for 5 with raid 2, and yeah, just a really good top end like the Red Dev and board wipe. So, and it's been pretty good in testing, and then I ended up going 3-2 yesterday. So played against Crispy's Chewy deck, really good. We know, you know, Bothans are brewing, teams are brewing, so we're definitely going to see some competition. We actually had like a 20% turnout at locals, which is the most we've had in a while. It's actually more than most of the showdown turnouts from the last couple sets. So I'm hoping that, you know, the word is that opening packs, you know, feels really good again. There's the incentive to go to locals. Why? So we can open these awesome packs, get these awesome cards. The weekly play cards are amazing. They look like just like showcase cards. Like, we're loving it. We're loving it. The energy's high with Star Wars right now in the Orlando area, so I'm excited to see where it goes. The meta is still brewing. I don't know if these 2 tournaments is enough to be like, oh, this is meta, but I can tell you right now, Chewy's going to be good. Lando going to be kind of like that A-tier deck. Like, if you don't respect it, could sneak up and beat you. Turning out in this tournament, I think most people went with Lando Blue. So I don't know if Lando Blue's the move, but being able to have access to play Bo-Katan super early, it's probably good enough to be in blue, and then you get those removal options too. But man, the meta is so excited. Glad to get another video out. I'll be, you know, working on getting these consistent again, as I always say in all my 1 videos a month. But we're definitely looking to pipe up that activity, and yeah, as a team we grew a few more players, so we'll be doing a video soon on just like a team video, sort of introducing who we've got coming onto the roster and like what our big plans are. We're definitely going to be at PQs. We're definitely going to be looking to go to sectors in Georgia, so we have an active like couple months here for 2 to base when it comes to Star Wars Unlimited. So I think that's all I got. Thanks for checking out the channel, guys, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. What you know, what meta do you think will be at your locals? What meta are you seeing at your locals? And yeah, just let me know what you guys think. Thanks. See you later.